Okay, we are going to learn how to do a stem stitch. Now this is probably one of my second favorite stitches because it is something you can do with curves, you can do it straight, but because it's kind of a woven stitch, then it allows to have like kind of a raised texture. So it's one that I tend to use quite a bit, and sometimes I replace it in lieu of a back stitch. So to do a stem stitch is what we're going to do right here for the finishing aspect of this leaf. Now we could have done a back stitch and it would have looked just as beautiful, but I really want to teach you how to do a stem stitch. So to do a stem stitch, you're going to bring your needle up at one of the ends of your artwork pieces. So I'm going to start right here on the left. I am a righty, so for me it's always easiest on this particular stitch to start at the left. So I'm going to bring my needle up through, and this is one that you're going to need your thumb to help hold in place. So you start your stem stitch by coming up there, then you're going to take it a stitch forward, and I kind of give it a generous amount. I don't keep it too tight, because what you're going to do is you're going to bring your needle back up through the center. So I would kind of say maybe go 2 stitch lengths forward, okay? So I have my needle and I am about 2 stitches forward. I'm going to take my needle down, but I'm not going to keep it tight. So you can see I'm kind of keeping a loop there. Now this is where you only do this to begin with, and now I'm going to come back up to the center of that stitch length. So you can see that's where I went down, that's where I came up, and I'm bringing my needle back up through the center, okay? Now you can pull your thread tight. So now I'm going to keep always my thread going the same direction. So I'm always going to keep my thread going upward. You don't want to keep your thread going downward. So I always use my thumb to just kind of keep that in place. So now you're going to go a stitch length forward, and then you're going to bring your needle up through the last stitch hole. So right here, I am bringing it forward. So you can see right there, okay? And then I pull it tight. So it kind of gives it a rope-like effect as you're stitching. So once again now, I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to come back up through the last stitch hole. So just like that. And like I said, you always keep your thread above. Okay, so you always keep it on top and bring it down, and then you come back up. Just like this, and it creates a really fun stitch. So down, and then come right back up. It's important to come back up as close as you can to that last stitch hole. And we're almost done. Back up and down. Back up through your stitch hole, and we're almost done. So I go down at the bottom, I'm ending at the bottom of that lazy daisy stitch. I'm coming back up through that last stitch hole. Now to finish it off, I pull it, and then I simply go to the middle of that last stitch hole, and I poke my needle down through to give it one more rope-like effect right there, to kind of give it that twisty effect. And then I am done. I flip it over to the back side and I knot it off. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the other side of the leaf, but I want to show you again how to start and stop, because I think it's really important to show you how to start and stop. So I'm going to quickly thread my needle because I'm almost out of thread, and we'll go ahead and start again on that one. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through again how to do the stem stitch, because I feel like sometimes it's kind of confusing how to get started. So once again, my preference is to start at the left side and go to the right, but that's a preference. So if you maybe are a lefty, you might want to start at the right side. So I am going to start this time at the bottom of this lazy daisy stitch. So I am going to bring my needle up, and then remember, I'm going to go about 2 stitch lengths forward, and I'm using my thumb to hold that thread in place up above. So So I'm going about 2 stitch lengths forward, and then I am bringing my needle halfway through. Remember, this is only when you begin the stem stitch. You don't have to do this portion only at the beginning, okay? So you can see I'm holding that, and now I'm bringing my needle up to the center right there. So you can see I went up here, went down there, and now I'm bringing my needle up through the center right there to begin the stem stitch, okay? Now again, I'm going to use my thumb to hold that thread in place so that I don't lose where it's supposed to be. And then you're coming up and back down through that same stitch hole, okay? So then you take it forward or to the above. And the reason why you want to keep it the same is because that's how it's going to create your rope-like effect, is by always having that thread go above. So that's why it's important to keep it above so that you can keep it going the same direction and have it look the same as you are going. So once again, I'm just going forward now a stitch length and then coming back up my previous stitch hole and keeping that thread going to the top. And I'm almost to the end. One more right here, and I am done. So now again, to end it, I bring it forward. Okay, now to end it, I'm just going to do a little tiny half tuck right there, and then I am going to knot it off on the back. And my friends, that is how you create a stem stitch.